Live.
We're live?
We're live. I'm going to tweet it out now.
All right, cool. Let's give it like 30 seconds before we just start, just because like let people. Actually, no, we tweeted it out early, so we can just go now. Okay, let me get my notepad. All right, Game of Thrones, the finale. It has finally happened. It is. Actually, no, we tweeted it out early, so we can just go now. Oh, shit. Do you guys get some feedback?
Okay, let me get my. Yeah, sorry, I have a link open. I had to get it. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sounds good. All right, let's do it. We'll do it one more time. Let me get stopped. That was a bad start. All right. Post Game of Thrones show. Game of Thrones finale. It was highly anticipated. It delivered, and we're finally here, and we're here to talk about it. Here, joining us to talk about it, we have what was people's favorite guest of the season so far, of the last two seasons, actually, and he's graced us with his presence once again.
Wow, that's very nice of you.
Yeah, John Feidelberg. What's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? I am happy to be here.
Sounds good, man.
Very happy to be here right now. I just watched Jon and Danny.
we're all very happy about it, and that'll be the first thing we talk about. But somebody who is less comfortable with incest than you is my buddy Clem, the many snacks guy, the Iron Bank shot of Bravos, the blogger of the morning, the house of black and white cookies, the Porzingis that was promised, the king-size Kit Kat slayer, ruler of the seven courses, Clomwell Tarley, the white bread walker, the Swedish blackfish, the snackfish, Azora high cholesterol, the King's Road commuter, the blogger without banners, Jorah Mormuch, Sir Barristan the bald Meister Met, the onion ring knight, and oysters, Clems, and cuckles. What is up,
Anti-incest still to this day. Those two beautiful bodies.
Pussy. You fucking pussy.
Let's talk about that first. So I was like in the middle. Clem's firmly anti-incest. John, like saying John's pro-incest is like an insult to the word pro. Like John is the bannerman for incest at this point. I totally makes sense. Everybody, literally, my buddy texted me as soon as the episode was over. He's like, well, I just know what I'm jerking off to tonight. So like, it's absolutely, it makes sense from all angles. But I will say this. I'm somewhere in the middle. I was willing to maybe overlook it just because I was like, all right, they're two just such gorgeous people. I wish they didn't have the narration saying his name was Targaryen during it. You know what I mean?
Love it. It made it even nastier.
Sick motherfucker.
That's so absolutely disgusting. It was literally, they're like, his name is Aegon Targaryen, and I'm like, oh my god, like he is the prince that is promised, like he is the heir to the Iron Throne, and then I'm just like, oh god, his name's Aegon Targaryen. While I'm watching Aegon Targaryen, the first Aegon Targaryen's like great granddaughter just get absolutely plowed by him. It wasn't, I don't know, John, what was your reaction?
When they cut to what's her name? The Stark whispering to his real name. Yeah. That was like the filthiest dirty talk I've ever heard. And like I got off on it. It was so awesome. It was like in the episode Always Sunny when they take on a different character and Dennis is like, oh yeah, that was it right there. Did you get off? I got off right there. Like just my whole body just came everywhere. It wasn't even just my dick that came. Everything in me came.
Dude. A woman dying. You've said a lot of gross things on KFC Radio. I worked for KFC Radio for 3.5, 4 years. I've seen you hear a lot of stuff. You saying that you got sexual ecstasy from a woman dying in childbirth, revealing the real name of her son as he's doing incest with his aunt might be. You know what? I'm proud of myself. I got you to say something that even Kevin couldn't get you to say. Like I got there was a certain level. All right, and Clem.
I heard Ava Devine say some like filthy things, and I was like, oh wow, I can't believe that did it for me. When she said that, I was like, woohoo, baby. Yeah, we're full mast. It was unbelievable.
And Clem, you weren't into it at all.
I mean, I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm the guy who's like scared of incest, and then they're like blurring out like Aegon Targaryen. He's fucking his aunt right now. Like it's so twisted. Even Tyrion, who didn't even know, like doesn't know the name, even he was looking at the door like, oh, that's fucking disgusting. Even though he doesn't know, like he knows deep down inside. He's like the college roommate that got locked out of his room. He's like, motherfucker, that shit's down.
And since you're on Team Jorah, because you say that you understand Jorah's plight, I mean, that was such a blatant attempt of him being like it's like when you have a crush on a girl and you're like, oh, like I'm gonna maybe hook up with her during the party. Then you see her like talking to her ex, and you're like, no, like stop talking to him. Like it's gonna ruin everything. Like Jorah was like, no, you guys shouldn't travel together. You guys totally shouldn't travel together. And then Jon was like, I don't know. I think it would just send a really good message if her and I took the same ship together. It was like the heart. I'm not Team Jorah. The heartbreak on his face, like it broke my heart as well. Like he 100% knows what's going down.
I kind of wish Jorah was the guy who saw that door. Because then he could move on. I've been on the other side of that friend zone, and I've moved on. I don't still have these girls in my mind, but I moved on when I smelled the sex in the room. Which this is my other point. All you pro-incest people, you're pro-incest of thoughts of the mind of George R.R. Martin, that fucking guy with the weird hat and the fucking beard. All this shit went on in his brain, and if you went in his house, it'd be like musty and thick, you know what I mean? That's the kind of house you're dealing with, where he came up with all this weird incest shit. So let you think about that the next time you're trying to get off to this fucking porn, which again, 2 beautiful fucking bodies. I'm going to go back and watch it. I'm not going to lie, but
that, you know what? That part about George R.R. Martin thinking it just doesn't bother me, because if I can't bother that because George R.R. Martin thought of it, I can't enjoy any of this, and I'm certainly not going to stop doing that. So.
It doesn't bother me at all, because that's exactly what my house is like right now.
Just smells like fucking man. Just fucking disgusting man.
I'm sweating. You can tell I'm sweating in here, man. It's hot.
John's pheromones. Like there are girls crossing the street right now who all of a sudden they're just looking back at the apartment. Like, I wonder who's in there. All right, let's start off with the beginning of the show. And I was gonna be like, all right, we'll get to it at the end, but I was like, we have to start with incest. When you have Feidelberg on the Game of Thrones finale and there's an incest scene, that's what you start talking about. But let's go to the very beginning. It was like a reunion episode. It was like when network sitcoms have their final episode ever, and they find a way to just bring everyone back. You have everybody, the old beefs, the old friendships, everybody's all meeting up at this whole big kumbaya conference to kill the White Walkers. They open up the White, and it just absolutely terrifies Cersei. We'll get into the specifics later, but for just in general, you got to give it to her. I saw John, I tweeted this week my Game of Thrones Mount Rushmore, and I left off Cersei, which you said was the oversight. For her to just blatantly lie right to their faces and then turn around and look at Jaime and be like, you idiot, you thought I actually meant it when I said I was going to save the world? She is the greatest Game of Thrones character of all time. She gets all the credit for being an Unreal character, and she still doesn't get enough. That is so incredibly diabolical to just be like, I will watch this world burn and not care even a little bit, is just so incredibly vicious and cruel. I think you have to be impressed by it. What did you think about the Cersei? Not heel turn, she was already the bad guy, but Cersei just cementing herself as a villain.
She's the best. She was, when I was mad because I don't need a Mount Rushmore. If you're who's the best character on Game of Thrones, it's Cersei. It's absolutely Cersei. She proves it again today. And she when she just gave that dagger to Jaime, where she's like, I always knew you were the dumbest Lannister. and he still just follows her like a puppy. And then when she's doing the no one walks away from me shit, it's so good. Everything about her is so good. And she's so evil that even when she was, there was no way she was going to kill Jaime, but you were still
I thought she was. I was shocked that she didn't. Clem, did you think Jaime was about to eat it?
I thought he was done. And I'm like Feidelberg, I was like, this makes her even more awesome. And it was it would have been the worst thing ever. It would have broken my heart in a million pieces, but I would have loved it. When they all went to the meeting, the way I compared her face, it was when Matt Barnes did the pump fake at Kobe and he just ate it. She has Mamba mentality. Cersei Lannister has Mamba mentality, and she fucking owns the shit out of every scene she's in. And like you said, the Game of Thrones Mount Rushmore, she's the one who said the Game of Thrones line in the show. It couldn't have been a better person to say, if you're in the Game of Thrones, you deliver, you
die. Yeah.
You just know she's just the baddest bitch. It was so apparent from 1 second in, where it's the prettiest girl in the club doesn't really fucking care who else is there. She's just everyone's looking at me. I'm all that matters. There was a goddamn dragon flying in, and people running to get a look of this mythical creature. And Cersei's still just sitting there I don't give a fuck about a dragon. I'm Cersei Lannister. The fuck do I care about that?
I will say, it wasn't one of the things I'll definitely be writing my recap is that I think a lot of this season, the best insight we've gotten into characters is what they're scared of. And because like fear has been, and like shock and fear, because that's what, like you said, the monsters are real, like the White Walkers are real, like the dragons are real. And you saw even with what was, I think, still the best episode of the season, with like, you know, when the dragons attacked versus Jaime's armies, and you just saw all the men who are like normally so unflappable. Jaime Lannister can't rattle him, can't rattle Bronn. They're like, oh fuck. And I thought like that's the effect the dragons have had on everyone. She was the only one in the show so far, like where everyone was all odd when it just like her eyes just moved and saw the dragons and was just like so unimpressed by it. But I think she was legitimately scared of the White. I think that got to her on some, even though it's not going to be enough to like make her do anything, like do something about it. I do think that she was scared of the White.
Yeah, she definitely was scared of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Jaime's scared of Cersei too. Did you see that look he gave her? Like Feidelberg, you've given that look before, like, you know, crazy. And he's like, fuck, you really are like so much deeper and worse than I could have ever imagined.
Do you think that was the moment where he turned on her and he saw her for what she was? And this is Jaime Lannister, brilliantly portrayed by my close personal friend, Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Yes, I think that was the moment. And honestly, I wanted to say, if you guys had interviewed him this week, I would have asked, you guys ask him, have you ever given that look to a girl? Because that was a really authentic look. That guy, he's a good looking motherfucker. He definitely was with some good, crazy hot girls. He's definitely given that look in real life.
So do you think I always thought that he was going to kill her. Like, I absolutely thought that she was going to give an order like that, and that one was going to kill the other. I thought it was going to be a fatal attraction. Now it looks like he's just going to be riding north to join the good guys. Are you guys like happy with that direction of the Jaime? Because as much as I hate to say it, because while Cersei's the best character, Jaime is like 1A, 1B with Tyrion, my favorite. I don't know. Like, I kind of think it would have been kind of cool if he died. Like, what do you guys think about the direction that they're taking Jaime? Let's go with you, Fights.
I love it. I've been pro Jaime for like what's it been? When he
4 seasons, like season 3.
Season 3, yeah. So when he's finally all good, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I do think there's something like the Lannisters have to stay together. I think Tyrion promised something in there.
Yeah, there was definitely something. I bet it was probably when this is all over, you can kill me. Like, I imagine it could be something like that. But I don't know. So Jaime, her not killing him kind of makes sense because she does love him. I think he's the one thing along with her children she actually legitimately cares about, and she wasn't prepared to just murder him. I'm actually a little confused as to why she didn't kill Tyrion. The only thing I could imagine why she didn't kill Tyrion was that she just probably calculated in her head, being like, like, it's probably better for me. Like that, like, I think Cersei's like, they're just gonna fight this war for me. So I think that I think she's probably just calculating in her head, like, it's probably just better in my best interest if Tyrion's alive and like fighting the war up north.
Mm-hmm. I still think she made him promise something though. Like, there's no way he get out of that room alive without sacrificing something.
Right.
Like they laid it on pretty thick that she deserves to kill him. Like, like, I'm going into the room with the most murderous woman in the world. I think we need to say our goodbyes, whatever Jaime said. Like, we don't come out of that room. You don't come out of, like, that's essentially hell for Tyrion. He's walking into hell. And you have to promise the devil something to get out.
And I swear to God, I never, as much as I love Cersei, like, she was the one character who I think you're just like, oh, she's evil. Like, that's like your main thing. Like, she's evil, she's diabolical. When she laid it out to him and was like, my like children are dead because of you. That was something I hadn't fully thought about before. And as she was like going through that whole monologue of like why she fully hates him, she hated him and wanted him dead before then too. But when she was going through that full monologue, I was like, I completely understand where you're coming from. I feel like you almost can't fault her after that, like for wanting him dead specifically.
Yeah, she does. She makes a pretty strong fucking case that he killed everything she's ever cared about. Between his mother, his father, the children. Like, you killed most of my family. It's fair to want to kill that person.
Yeah, it was the only time where I thought of a motivation for her other than just like, I guess it's sort of revenge, but just like, I don't know, just being like an evil person in the quest for power. You have Jon Snow.
I thought that was really good. Just that whole scene was like really well acted, obviously, because they're both fucking monsters. But I particularly liked where it's like you almost see like the inside of her, like when she just admits, she's like, "What did you see?" She's like, "I didn't think about the world. I don't give a fuck about the world. I care about my family. That's all I thought about." And that's kind of when you're like, okay, she's just like, I mean, I love her for her evilness, but you're like you said, you're kind of like, okay, I get it.
Do you think she's pregnant, or that was just to make Tyrion like think something? Do you think Tyrion saying you're pregnant means she actually is, or I don't know? Like, I feel like, and this isn't just to like name drop, like, but John, when you and I interviewed Jaime Lannister and we were like, asked him, we were like, oh, is it a real pregnancy? I feel like if it was, he would have just been like, yeah, of course it is. Like, you idiot. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. So like that makes me feel like there's still a possibility it's fake. But I don't know. I mean, Tyrion's saying you're pregnant and her not drinking the wine. I mean, that could be part of her act, but I don't know. Do you still believe her? As someone who's probably been in that position before?
She was laying it on pretty thick. Like, she wasn't being shy about the whole hand placement and rubbing and like using it, like almost like rubbing her baby, like when she's thinking about the White Walker or whatever, and she's like, oh, like what makes me scared? No, I thought about my family, hand to stomach. Like she was trying to make it pretty clear to him that she's pregnant. So I would think that's like not something you would do if it was real. I think it almost makes it more clear that it's fake.
Clem, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think that she has something to lose now, or if she had nothing to lose, you could kind of make the case that she's weak and whatever. But if she has something to lose, she's going to be Cersei. So you have to like promise her something, or going to have to go through with it. And like you said before, I wanted to just bring this up. What we learned, what people are scared of. I learned this at 9:01 tonight. I'm scared of this fucking show, and I'm almost happy it's over because I stood that entire fucking episode scared of someone dying. I mean, 80 minutes. I'm not a stander. I'm not gonna shock the world with that statement, but I'm not a stander. And I'll tell you, I stood for 80 fucking minutes, and that was my heart did not need that on a Sunday night.
Dude, it was like before like a Rangers playoff game. Like that's like the only thing I could really think of where I was just like so nervous. Like before the show, and I was even thinking, I was like, what am I nervous about? Like what am I scared of happening? And I didn't know. I just was like all day I was thinking about absolutely nothing else.
Did Tormund die?
Probably. Oh no, we didn't see him die, so you have to imagine he survived.
If he did, that would be the worst fucking death. That would be a fair complaint about this show. That and the Theon scene were the only two complaints I have.
Okay, let's get to this before we just finish up what happened in the opening scene. Jon Snow. He really is so stupid, it's almost incredible. Like, it's almost, people are saying, like, oh, Game of Thrones, it's so unbelievable. Like, there wouldn't be someone this evil. There wouldn't be dragons. There wouldn't be White Walkers. And a lot of people, like, the fantasy element of the show is getting a lot of hate. Here's the thing that's not believable. Nobody would be that stupid. If somebody just looked at you straight in your face and they were like, hey, promise me this one thing that you could easily go back on at absolutely any time you want, and I will do exactly what you say. And he looks at her and then he's just like, no, and is completely honest. You even saw Tyrion and Dany, who like are all about improving the world and making like the world like this bright new place. And even they were looking at him like, you idiot, why can't you just say it? Like, just say it, just lie. Like, I'm almost getting fed up with Jon with how dumb he is. And it's starting to just almost really frustrate me. What about you, Clem?
Like, it's not even fun to say Jon Snow's a fucking idiot anymore. It's such the overwhelming thing. Like, he probably could have like seen Bran could have like projected his eyeballs to the screen, been like, you're Aegon Targaryen. He'd be like, I don't know what that means. I'm just gonna fuck my aunt right now. Like, he's the dumbest motherfucker on the planet, and it makes Ned look worse. R.I.P. Ned. Like, this, I don't even know. I'm on record like this entire season, every podcast, I feel like I'm just like, Jon Snow's a fucking idiot. So in the words of Dave Portnoy, he's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot.
All right, Feidelberg, was it like at this point with Jon, do you think it's just like it's almost unbelievable how fucking stupid he is?
Well, I mean, for like 3 years,
the
most important thing to him has been, we have to get together. We have to fight the walkers. That's the only thing that matters. Nothing matters but the undead and all that shit.
Yeah.
All you had to do was lie. Like he's sacrificed everything just to like tell people that like these zombies exist, and he just couldn't lie. Like he was there. He was at the door that was open. All he had to do was walk in, and he finally has what he's been seeking for years. And he was just like, he can't do that.
Well,
that pissed me off. But then I almost liked the meeting with Theon. Like, it kind of like made you be like, okay, the honor does make sense still. I still like the honor.
Yeah, and the honor made sense actually with the death of Baelish, what we'll get in. I guess the only defense you could really have for Jon Snow was that he immediately, like Cersei would have done the same thing, whether he said it or not. Like, there was nothing he could have said where they were possibly going to go. And like, even if she was like, oh yeah, like you pledge your allegiance to me, she still would absolutely let them just kill the White Walkers for her and solidify her position. So I guess like from that sense, it almost meant like when he said we need to be, we need to work together and like be like honest with each other. I guess that's true, but it's still just at a point he has absolutely no like political instincts. All right, let's get to Theon, which was like just the most insignificant part of the episode.
That was so dumb.
I was so angry. I was like, we got 80-minute episode, and you're going to give me a whole Theon fucking arc here. You got to be fucking shitting.
Well, and there was also with that, and I get the symbolic value of like when he was like, you're a Stark and a Greyjoy. By the way, his capacity for forgiveness is like, I would have, like, the fact he hasn't murdered him, let alone was like, I'll forgive what I can. I'm like, there's nothing really to forgive. But then I got like the symbolic value of like, he took what was his by fighting for it, which made him part Greyjoy, but he was doing the honorable thing, so it was part Stark. And him like washing himself in the salt water was like a rebirth. Like I understand the symbolic value of all of it, but there is at a point where I'm like, look, there's 80 minutes. We gave 10 of it to this guy who's like a tertiary character at best, and now there's going to be a Yara rescue arc, you would assume, in the next season at some point where he fights Euron, and there are only 6 episodes, so it's like I just like, how much time are we going to give this guy? It kind of pissed me off. Fights, what was your least favorite part?
It was definitely that. It was everything you said, just hit the nail on the head. Like, I don't give a fuck about Theon Greyjoy. I don't give a fuck about Yara Greyjoy. If they just disappeared, that's fine. Like, if they just, like in, what was it, Friday Night Lights, was it season 2, I think, when they had the writer's strike, and they just didn't answer a ton of things. And it was like, they had like that Hispanic tight end and shit like that. He just disappeared. Like, no one knows what happened to him. Like, I would be fine if that happened to the Greyjoys. If just like they disappeared forever. Even Euron. Euron's was a huge disappointment. He was like, he came on the scene hot as hell, and he had like the lines coming up to this year where he's like, by the end of the season, I make Ramsay Bolton look like a child.
Yeah, he overhyped himself. Like, I think if there wasn't hype behind him, he would have been fine for what he is, which is just like, oh, this guy like is going to come in every now and then, like steal scenes, be cool, and then just leave. And I would have been like fine with that. Almost sort of like what Bronn is, kind of. Right. He doesn't really serve like that much of a purpose, but like he can just like inject some life into the show. But the fact that the actor himself was basically saying that he was going to be like, he basically was making it sound like he was going to be the main character of Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of a sell job. What do you think about Theon or Euron, Clem?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on all that stuff. I like you said, if he was like the Russian from the Pine Barrens and just disappeared and we never saw him again, 100% in for it. Euron, I think we all probably thought there was a chance Euron was bullshitting when he said he was just getting up and leave. It just seemed a little like,
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was just literally like showing he's the most diabolic guy, and he was like, "I'm out," just like leaving. It reminded me of what John you said about how you were like, if Game of Thrones was real, as soon as people saw the dragons coming, it'd be the Monty Python, just like run away, like literally him just like looking at the whites and being like, "I'm gonna be on my island and just be fine." But
the Theon stuff that sucked too was like just the fight itself was so dumb too. Yep. Like, that dude would kick the fuck out of him. Not having a dick is a superpower. Like, it's not, he had like, it was like his ace in the hole. Like, I don't even have a penis. What the fuck does that mean? That wouldn't swing a fight. Like the revelation that it doesn't hurt when you get kicked in the groin, or it doesn't hurt that much. It's like, they totally threw that guy off his game, and he just like had no idea what to do after that. This kid doesn't have a penis. Get the fuck out of here. Punch him in the face again. Stop working the dick.
Yeah, it would throw me off too. Clem, sorry, I interrupted you. You're on the roll. What were you saying?
Yeah. So, but I actually thought maybe like then I'm going back to, and this is the problem with like, it's not really a spoiler when a guy has a quote like that, but then you start thinking, because we're fans, we're all like we're doing our Reddit board theories and shit like that, and I'm like, oh, Euron's gonna definitely like take over the ship that Jon and Dany did, and we may have something coming out of left field. And it's just like, no, he's going to Essos to get the Iron Bank. Fucking pussy. Euron Greyjoy came out so hot. Me, like when Golic was on the show, we were ready to get like Euron Greyjoy matching tattoos and shit. And now I want him off the show. Theon stinks. Chekhov's Theon though. That's this episode. It's Chekhov's Theon. Something important has to happen with Theon that's going to really make a difference in this whole thing. Either he fucks with Euron enough to help Dany and Jon or something, but there's no way Theon's been around this long and had so many shitty storylines to just like do nothing.
I've blogged for 3 years now being like, all right, Theon has to sacrifice himself and die, and that'll be like his somewhat redemption. And it just keeps not happening. It's like I still think it will, but like at what point? Like I've literally been thinking for 3 years it was going to happen.
It's going to be a sacrifice too. Going back, John said you're half Stark. Or, you know what? Again, like, I hate to say this, but like, I kind of love the snake until you make it mentality. And if he, again, like, fucked everyone over and just like, you know, put his tail between his legs and ran away, I kind of love that too, because it would just be so true to his character. But I mean, it just stinks. I don't want to see any more Theon. Let's wrap this shit up ASAP. We only got 6 episodes left. Let's fucking just get Theon out of this fucking show.
Yeah. All right, John, do you have any final Theon thoughts, or have you?
No, I think his arc is, I think it's Yara. I'd be surprised if he survives trying to save Yara.
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. I think, yeah, that's like the final thing. But I will say about Euron going and getting like the Golden Company of sellswords, it does set up there will be a final. George R. R. Martin said he said bittersweet ending for end of Song of Ice and Fire, so I figure it's going to be more or less the same ending. What I kind of expect to happen at this point is there's going to be a final showdown with like, so Chekhov's army. So there's going to be Chekhov's Golden Company where they're going to have, Cersei's going to have this huge mass and be able to fortify her position while they're fighting up north. I feel like up north, they're actually going to finally defeat the White Walkers, like kill them all, save humanity, and then come down, and then Cersei just wins and is on the Iron Throne. Like, and then she's just like the head of it. Like that's like I think Cersei being on the Iron Throne is a lot more plausible than people think. Like everyone's like, well, she's inevitably going to get hers now that she's like dead. That's what I thought at first. Now with Euron at her back, and by the way, that was a huge turning point in the conversation with Jaime. She was like, Euron was promised a queen. That was basically her being like, oh, you thought that just because we have this baby, like that we were going to be married and we were going to be together? Like, no, like I'm still gonna, you know, I'll take another guy in my bedroom if that means that it's like politically convenient for me. It was a big turning point. So I don't know. I just think like Cersei winning is actually kind of plausible. Do you guys?
Cersei winning is what happens in real life. Like that's like at the end of every season of The Wire, or at the end of The Wire, like the shitty people that are cutthroat and play the politics game end up fucking on top, and the people like Jon Snow end up dead or fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So corporate world, it's that's life, man. And I said this, I tweeted this the other day. Like Cersei would make an alliance with the Night King. She'd be like, I said with that blonde hair, blue eyes, she would pop. She'd be fucking stunning, and she would rule the Iron Throne with fucking nothing but dead bodies and snow around her, and she'd be happy as a lark.
Yeah, that would make sense. Do you see it fights like just a thing where maybe like Euron does tip it in her favor and she just ends up on top, but humanity's saved, but she's on top?
I 100% see her. I don't know if I think that's definitely going to happen, but it would make sense. I'd be fine with it. If that's how Game of Thrones ends, I'm totally cool with that. I think she deserves
that's
it.
A good message.
It's a good message. It's a very, very pro-feminist show. And,
well, no. I don't mean like a good message like socially. I just mean like it's almost like Breaking Bad. Like the way Breaking Bad ended, it's like, oh, this guy was a drug dealer and it killed him, but you know. Well, I don't know. Like it just made sense. It was realistic. Like when shows end all like doom and gloom and tragedy, it kind of sucks because you're just like, well, like what was the point of all that then? Like it's all just terrible. If it's just like straight Shakespearean tragedy, but then also when it's like, you know, I don't know, when there's like a mix and it's like, all right, like humanity was saved, but Cersei does end up on top. I feel like it's just like Clem says, like it's what happens in real life. So I feel like that would actually make sense. Let's talk about up north. Let's go to Winterfell. Sansa's talking to Baelish, and then it was funny, like them talking about the worst intentions, because that's also, I felt like that was almost very meta, because it was like, that's how you should watch the show. It's just like assume the absolute worst out of everybody. So then she's basically feeding into him being like, Arya's going to kill me. I have to kill her first. And everyone, the question everyone at home is though wondering is like, all right, is she just playing him right now? And she's like out Littlefingering Littlefinger, or is he really just like under her spell? And he, you know, it's just classic Baelish goes out on top. I'm not going to lie, guys, if I can talk about myself for a little bit. I haven't been able to make predictions this year, which sucks because it was my favorite part about blogging was making predictions and seeing what's right. But because of all the leaks and spoilers, like if I got anything right, everybody would just be like, you ruined it. I said the one thing I was certain of was Baelish going down and he gets his throat cut. Clem, your team Littlefinger, what was going through your mind when that happened?
Even when, like, so, you know, you see Arya out there and you're just like, I can't believe Sansa's is stupid. Then it's like, well, I just saw Jon do stupid ass shit as the quote unquote son of Ned Stark. I guess his daughters could be a dumb idiot too, even though everything we've learned from Sansa the last few seasons is how her brain is starting to work like a politician. But until we saw Baelish's face, and I just kept reading his face, like, is he truly surprised or is he going to somehow spin this? And then when they kept showing that dude from the Vale who fucking hates him, I'm like, oh no, it's curtains. And I'm a Baelish guy, and I think anyone who truly appreciates a good, like, villain that doesn't, you know, have, like, the muscles or the sword. But I'm also... See that cup right there? Choo choo! The Bran wagon came home, motherfuckers. That's right. I had it, and he had that weird little mind on the DVR. His fucking computer brain was hooked up to the tree, and he told everyone what the fuck was up. He told us the whole show. We watched it with us, just like I said. Why isn't he saving fucking Jon Snow from the ice? He's fucking taking care of business, one motherfucker at a time. The most unkillable person in the show was Littlefinger, and he just got because of my guy Bran. You guys
all right, fights you hate Bran. What do you think?
I mean, there's nothing to hate with Bran on that. Bran had the receipts. Bran was like, yeah, here's what you said. Like, I was there. It's like, no one could have known. No one could possibly know. Bran knew. That's like, Winterfell's been kind of boring all season. Like, it's been like slow, kind of like, everyone hated Sansa was annoying. Arya was kind of weird. Bran didn't do fucking anything. Winterfell came back with a vengeance this episode. Like, everything was awesome. Arya was great. Sansa was great. Littlefinger got it. Bran was, I mean, Clem, when you were like tweeting like everyone's got to get on the Bran wagon, I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing it. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm like chasing it right now, like the kid who missed the bus. Bran was dope as hell.
I only did it because it was a penny. It was a penny stock. I bought it at too, and I didn't want to do it. I even said like that night of the podcast, like I wish that fucking kid died in episode 1. But it just I can't do this in real life because I don't know how to invest money in real things. So I invest in characters in fictional shows that don't make me a dime. And sweet.
You bought Google at $5 a share. Like that's basically what you did. You were just like, all right, everyone's out on it. Even Chaps and you are good friends and are all buddy. No, viciousness, you and Chaps were going at each other last Sunday about Bran. That was like absolutely incredible. Like that was, I did the annoying well actually in it. And Chaps, who I'd like left like he literally was like, well, he's like an annoying cunt like you two. I was like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, he called us cunts. He just called us cunts out of him.
It was mean. It was straight up mean. So it was definitely one of those moments where I was just like, wow, people hate the Bran wagon. And Clem, I think that you were definitely paid off. But you did have to laugh, though, when Samwell Tarly just goes in being all fat and Samwell, and he just is like, oh, do you remember me? And he just goes, I remember everything. I was just like, oh, God. Like, I actually laughed out loud. I laughed out loud in a way that I haven't laughed out loud since Bronn laughed out loud about Dick on while watching Game of Thrones.
I liked even when like Samwell's reaction when he's like, I became a 3-eyed raven. He's like, oh, that's nice. Like, he kind of gave like the face, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I don't know what that means, but it's just like classic Sam. I wanted Bran to ask him, and he was like, well, like, Jon can't do it on its own, so, like, I just came up here to help. I would have been like, well, what are you going to do, fatty? Like, what are you going to do, swing a sword? Like, you're the most useless person on the show unless you're at the Citadel.
I want to say this much about Bran, though, or about Littlefinger. When Bran said chaos is a ladder, Littlefinger fucking in his peak would have had that kid killed in an episode max. Yeah. Like he knew the fucking where the bodies are buried. Littlefinger doesn't let a guy who knows more than he knows or anything close to what he knows survive an episode or two. And the fact he did, I don't know if it's laziness or he was fighting another battle and he has enough shit going on. He kind of is fighting shorthanded as is, I guess, because everyone hates him because he's such a cocksucker.
I think he just knows if Bran dies, like Winterfell goes up in smoke, and that would be like it would point to him. Like I don't know if Bran dies right after he just had a one-on-one conversation with Bran, I think he knows that. Or I think he figured Arya would have probably figured it out. If that makes sense. That's true. And you can't, as much as he has men who are loyal to him, he's in Winterfell. I guess he could like try to get an assassin, but like other than that, like no one at Winterfell is killing the Starks for him. Like he would have had to have probably done it himself.
This was one other thing I wanted to point out. My wife pointed this out, and I thought it was great. The whole show was about how Ned was such a great guy and honorable and this and that. Catelyn doesn't get one compliment the entire fucking series, and I love it. I'm not going to say that word. She's a bitch. She was a bitch on this show. She wished Jon Snow death when he was a baby because she thought it was her husband's bastard son.
I mean, I kind of get that.
Oh, I understand that, but like wishing death upon a baby, like that's some fucking rotten shit. I wouldn't raise the kid for my own, but she was a bitch. She fucked up everything. She let the Kingslayer go. She's the reason we are where we're at right now. We got fucking dragons breathing fire.
I kind of have always wanted to write a blog. Never have, never will. But I always wanted to write a blog of most underrated interactions in Game of Thrones, like the best character dynamics no one talks about. I think the scenes, the prison camp scenes, is kind of a non sequitur, but whatever, of Catelyn talking to Jaime Lannister, and there were like 3 of them, were some of the best. I think they were second of my favorite conversations that happened in the history of Game of Thrones, behind when Tywin and Arya scenes. Like they were actually my second favorite. So I like her. But yeah, you're right. She gets absolutely no mention, and it's all about Ned Stark. But then again, Ned Stark, everyone talks about like he's such a good guy, but then it's always prefaced like, by the way, he was an idiot. Like he was an idiot for getting killed. So his memory is also being like the dolt, which is probably what's gonna happen in Jon eventually. All right, so then by the way, one last thing about Baelish. I'm gonna say this in my blog. While he did seem unkillable, you will say this. Baelish was the guy who had he was like the ultimate power as an illusion. Like, remember that Varys monologue of like, it's a shadow on the wall, who had no real actual power, and it was all just sort of a juggling act from like start to finish. It kind of makes sense that the balls would tumble at some point. Like like he had such a mountain of baggage. It's like Hillary Clinton. Like if you just do that much over a 20-year period of time, like it's gonna collapse eventually. It's a matter of when, not if. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a great death too. Let's not throw that, just a straight up slit of the throat and let him bleed out without anyone like not even lifting a finger. It was perfect. It was a perfect way for him to go out, my boy.
All right, and then finally we have the scene with Bran. We talked about the incest portion of it, but let's just talk about this portion of it. Jon's the heir to the Iron Throne. I wish they didn't spell it out like that. I feel like this audience is smart enough to figure that out on their own. Maybe they're not, but what's Daenerys' reaction and Jon's reaction when they found out, by the way, you just slept with someone who's directly related to you? And what also is the reaction when Jon can look at her and be like, I have a better claim to this throne that you're fighting for than you do. Like, I just wonder, because while you would think that Jon would be like, I don't care, you can have it, he is all about honor and doing the right thing, and the right thing is for him to be king. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Jon, what do you expect to see when Jon and Dany find out the truth? Do you think it'll be straight Oedipus, him stabbing his own eyes out and trying to kill himself?
I think it's going to be very interesting because Dany has always said, like, you will find out whether she actually believes in, like, the heir to the throne bullshit or if she just wants power. Because she has forever said, it's like, it's my throne. I'm just taking it back to my family. Like, give it to Jon then. You have nothing to, okay, like, thanks for getting us here, but it's Jon's turn now. Right. But I honestly don't think they're going to care about the relationship thing. I think they'll like stay like
together.
I think it'll be because of the word marriage. That's what an aversion I have to it. I can't even just say it.
I thought you were doing this. I thought you were doing like the thing.
No. But I also think it would be really cool if they find out and she just kills Jon right there.
Yeah, if it was like her just doing a Mad King moment of him just being like, you have a better claim to the throne. Her being like, oh, really? All right, well, no one has a better claim to the throne anymore right now.
Yeah, because like I do think that like under her whole like it's my family's throne, blah 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 skin, like I think it's power. I think that's all she wants. So I think it will be pretty interesting what her reaction is. I think it's going to be.
And she can't claim she's taking it like I'm trying to make the world a better place, like because I'm a just person, because Jon is all those things too.
Right. Very true.
So it's like it's really the only way that she can take this power is if she just like, look, I'm the one who revived this dynasty, not you. I've done all the work and I just really want to be queen. Clem, what do you think the reaction is when they find out?
Yeah, I mean, we've always heard, like you said, George R. R. Martin with the bittersweet ending. Like it's two characters, pretty much everyone loves. And it might come down to the thing where it's like, Jon did everything Dany asked to like prove that you're loyal to me, prove this, prove that. And he finally bent the knee. And I think it's going to then be reversed where it's like, he is the just man. He's the guy that's going to break the wheel. Obviously, she's done all the stuff with freeing the slaves and stuff. She's going to have to yield the Iron Throne to him if she wants this stuff to actually be done, or she can maybe fight a war. I don't know if they'd actually fight, but I do think that's going to be where it's going to kind of be everything Jon had to prove to her. She's going to have to then maybe yield the power to Jon, or else it's just going to, that could be where the bitter part of the bittersweet comes in, is we're going to lose one of the two characters. I don't know which one it would be. It'd probably be Jon, because Jon's life is just sad, man. It's been sad for so fucking long, man. And now he gets like the hottest piece of ass he's ever going to get. It's his aunt the whole time, which I know Feidelberg's cool with, but dude, I'm still.
I'm not cool with it. I'd be so fucking pissed if they told me. Like,
that would suck.
Dude, the only reason people want power is for pussy. And I already had the pussy, so I didn't really give a shit about the throne. Like, why the fuck would you tell me that? Like, just keep that shit to yourself. It's like anything in a relationship. Like, I don't really give a fuck as long as I don't know and then I have to put on a reaction that
I have to pretend like I care. It's like, it's like you're dating a girl, and then they're like, by the way, you know that she like once went home with like one of your friends. I'm like, I didn't know that. Why could you just like not told me that? Like, why do I have to know that? Like, just leave that be. Like, I don't care, but now I have to pretend like I care. It's gonna be like a whole thing. Like, I don't really want
that. She could have gone home with that friend last night. And I'm still like, dude, why the fuck did you tell me that? Like, I don't need to know that shit. I don't need to know who my girlfriend's fucking. Like, just shut the hell up, man.
Yo, I mean, the perfect solution to all of this is just marriage. And I feel like Daenerys, I mean, she's a Targaryen, and the Targaryen, I mean, she is a product of incest herself. So, like, I feel like she can't say anything. Like, if she's just like, this is wrong, it's like, well, then your entire existence is wrong, and you're an abomination. So I think, like, she'll be like, I don't care at all, Jon. Like, you, like, whatever, like, you know, forecast was 7 inches of snow. Like, this was fine by me. But then again, like, I feel like Jon, he's not used to incest. He's probably into the north. Like, he definitely thinks those people are freaks. Like, I don't know, like, what's his reaction going to be? He's the guy all about honor. When he finds out that he just like went down with his aunt, like, I feel like he might freak out about this. Like, but then that'd be such a diversion from the plot. I don't know what he's going to do. I actually don't know.
What was that meme with the redhead kid? Remember the redhead kid meme? And it's like everything bad happens to him. It's like,
oh, bad luck, Brian.
Bad luck, yeah, bad luck. Jon Snow like has sex with a fucking smoke show 10. It's his fucking aunt. Like, his guy just can't buy a bucket here, man. And this is the other thing that's going to be interesting dynamic. And again, people like, we don't have spoilers. We're just guessing. The fact that the two people that are going to say Jon is that rightful heir to the throne are his brother / half brother and his best friend from the Night's Watch, which is going to make things pretty hard for Daenerys to be like, I believe you. So I do think that could set us up for a pretty interesting conflict down the road, because you have to like try to think like 10 steps ahead from all the shit that's happened, 10 steps behind with George R. R. Martin.
All right, last thing
before, right? Like, she's definitely pregnant.
Oh, she's definitely gonna be pregnant, 100%.
Oh yeah, God, I didn't even think about that.
So that's gonna make things interesting, like very interesting. Like, we can find out. I think like she's gonna get pregnant because like it's gonna actually no, they're going to Winterfell, so they'll see them soon. Like, I don't know what you do. Like, I think you kind of just have to be like, well, I mean, people fight through things once the pregnancy happens, right? Like they have little things they have to work around, but you know what? For the good of the kid, we'll make this work out. Sometimes you find out you're related.
It's like Jon doesn't even listen to Podfathers. That's all we fucking do when they're pregnant and immediately after the pregnancy and for the rest of our lives. You see what's happening to your co-host? He's dying right now.
Yeah.
Your co-host is dying. He's killing himself. He's putting himself into an early grave.
Yeah, we were like, hey, man, do you want to, like, it'll be fun. We'll have the whole KFC radio crew on. Like, it'll be Jon, it'll be you, it'll be Clem, it'll be me, it'll be fun. And he was just like, I can't do it. Like, my kid is crying. I was just like, yeah, all right, man, that makes sense. So, man, maybe he's probably really relates to all this. Clem?
There was one other thing I wanted to touch on that I can't remember. So
I have one more thing too that I forgot to mention. What did Arya and Sansa do from here? Because they have Winterfell solidified, and Arya has these assassination skills. Did she go kill Cersei? Maybe. Like, I don't know. Just because like everything Arya does, you can't not use Arya being a faceless man. She didn't need to be a faceless man in order to kill Baelish. They didn't use it at all. So like, it's sort of a useless skill against the Night's King. It's not like she's going to go like assassinate a dragon or anything like that. So I don't know. Just like, what do you think they do with Arya? And Sansa has maybe that's it. Maybe the first 3 episodes are them beating the White Walkers, and the last 3 episodes are them beating Cersei, like all united, and they just sort of, I don't know, like Arya and Sansa are the aces in the hole. But like, I have no idea. Like, what do you think they do with them, Jon?
It's actually a great question.
Like, they just seem useless. They seem pretty extraneous right now. Maybe this is like they're just happily ever after and they're kind of never seen again. I don't know.
No, but Sansa still has. I mean, Arya still has her list. Like, she has to. Who's left on the list?
Cersei.
Cersei. The Mountain. The Mountain might be on there too.
No, then she admitted that she doesn't actually want to kill him.
So I think she does. She has to go to King's Landing while they're up fighting the White Walkers. She goes to King's Landing. I don't know what the fuck Sansa does. I guess stay and be Lady of Winterfell. I think maybe like Jon comes home and is like, you know, Winterfell's yours. Like, yeah. I have other shit to do. Like, you've done a great job here. Take Winterfell. And yeah, I think Arya has to go north. She has to go south to King's Landing and probably die trying to kill Cersei.
Yeah, suicide mission. I would do 1 for 1. Like, if I'm on Team Stark / Targaryen / like Jaime right now, I'm like, all right, trade Arya for. It's like Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie. It's like, all right, 1 for 1. Like, I'll do that. Like, I'll gladly like eat Arya and just like get our contract off the books in order to take down Cersei.
I remember I was going to say before, not to change the subject, but Jon Snow going to Daenerys like, What, some witch doctor told you can't get pregnant? Was like every dude who's ever wanted to get laid in their life. Like, what, you believe that? You know, like, come on, just a tip. Come on, let's just try. Like, it was beautiful to see that play out on screen.
Yeah, literally like in high school. It's like they said if we do, so go to hell. You believe that? Like, what do you mean? Like, no, let's get a second opinion. All right, let's at least test it out and see if it actually works. And by the way, speaking of the mountain. The fact that I thought that was a clear wink when I don't know how it's going to happen. I thought it would have maybe happened tonight, but Clegane Bowl, which I don't know if you guys ever like are in like Game of Thrones and like a Song of Ice and Fire, like fan community, like forums and message boards. I am, cause I'm a loser. Clegane Bowl is like the #1 thing everyone wants to see. It's like one of those things that's funnier now because it's taken on a life of its own. It's like Crying Jordan, like it's become bigger than itself almost. So it's so funny. I thought that it was a clear wink to the hardcore fans. And just them, or just all the fans, not even the hardcore fans, but just like him saying, like, you know what's eventually coming for you. Like, was their way of saying, like, okay, we know you all think Clegane Bowl's today. It's not happening, but like, it will happen at some point. Like, I promise it's going to happen. Like, you don't say you know what's coming for you and them not eventually fight. You know what I'm saying?
After Mayweather-McGregor happening on Saturday, I believe any fight can happen now. So I am all in on the Clegane Bowl actually happening.
I have a confession. I don't really care about the Clegane Bowl.
Well, that's because you don't read like Game of Thrones Reddit because you have a life and stuff. I don't.
Not that I don't care about it, but like I don't think it's gonna be that good. I don't have much interest in like a power versus power fight. It's like I always liked watching Kobe play more than LeBron because LeBron's just like up the middle, get to the foul, like, to drive to the hole, get to the foul line. It's just power. Where like Kobe, I like the finesse. Like I'd like to see Arya fight the Mountain more than I'd like to see the Hound fight the Mountain.
No. We saw it. That was Oberyn. He got his fucking head exploded.
Maybe that needs to be something else.
This was something I wanted to ask you guys about Arya. Do you think it would? I think it would be too. I don't know what the word is. Too lame, corny. If she used Littlefinger's face, I think they already kind of did that trick with what's his name?
Walder Frey.
Yeah, Walder Frey. Like I don't know if they would go back to that again. It would be kind of corny if they did it again, right?
If she killed Jaime and used Jaime's face, that would be absolutely incredible. If that was Jaime on the North Road, she sees him, she kills him, and then she heads right back in the other direction, and Jaime doesn't actually get his chance of full redemption and to like fight on the good side. He comes just short, and the purpose he serves is because here's the thing about Cersei: if she actually is pregnant, the prophecy said she'd have 3 children. She had 3 children. That kid can't be born one way or the other. It either doesn't exist, it's a miscarriage, or she dies. Like
she gets killed by her brother. Wasn't that like killed by the brother?
That's in the books. That's not in the show.
But if that came into the show too, Arya with his face on would kind of technically be him if you want to
be it. Yeah. I mean that would be awesome. And I'm such a Jaime guy, and I hope he lives to the end. That's another trade I'd make. I'm willing to trade Arya's life. I'm willing to trade Jaime's life. Like I think like he would absolutely be a thing. And I also let's make. Before we talk about the wall, because that should be the last thing we talk about, let's make our predictions for last season. We're in the last season, so there's no such thing as plot armor. People can die.
Can I just interrupt one thing? Sorry.
It's your podcast.
I don't watch Insecure, and I have it on mute on the background. It was just like a very, I guess, aggressive blowjob scene where she's like, a chick just got cum all over her face and her mouth. It was crazy. It's like a porn scene. Like just big fucking facial.
Dude, the rate HBO is going, it's just going to be like they're just going to start airing murders like in their shows. Like it's like how they like The Fire is been all real. Like they've been lighting stunt people on fire for that battle scene with the dragon and Barrack's sword. They actually dipped it in gas and lit it on fire in real when he was firing. Like that sword was actually on fire. Like Game of Thrones next season, they're just going to have real people fight to the death, and they'll like write the script based on who wins.
They should. I mean, that's why we watch all those stupid idiots on Discovery Channel, like walk to Niagara Falls on like a tightrope, right? Like we want to see blood, even though we don't want to admit it.
Yeah. All right. That's totally
or cum in this case. We want to see cum.
I think we admit that.
Yeah.
All right. So there's all right. So now let's just get let's say the main characters, in my opinion, are the 3 Lannisters: Tyrion, Cersei, Jaime, the 2 Stark girls. The 2 or should I say the 2 Targaryens. So those are that's the main 7, right? Like, can we all agree on that? And there are a lot of characters who are important, but they're all sort of beneath them. Who do we think? Let's just go through the list, and I'm just going to name each of them, and you're going to tell me. I'll write them down right now so I don't forget, and tell me if you think that they survive next season. This is just us going on record, so everyone has the receipts. Cersei, do you think she survives Jon?
No.
Clem, no? I want to say yes.
Say yes.
I'll say yes. Yeah,
I brought it on the bandwagon, man. You got to believe in something when everyone's against you.
Jamie, do you think he survives? Clem, we'll start with you this time.
Nope. I think he dies in front. Like, one of them dies in front of the other with those two. There's a lot of, like, that's some tragic shit.
Yeah, I think Jamie for sure dies. What about you, Jon?
No.
You think he doesn't survive?
I'm sorry. No, I wish he does, but no, I do not think he survives.
Yeah, but I'm glad we got 8 seasons of acting again from the brilliant Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who's a dear friend. He was actually in New York 2 weeks ago. I stopped by in Midtown, saw him, talk for 30 minutes. It was great. All right, Tyrion, does he survive? This one's interesting. I thought he was going to maybe die tonight.
I think I'm going to say no about everybody. I don't think anybody survives. No.
You don't think anyone survives? All right, Tyrion, you don't think I think Tyrion survives, Clem. I thought if he was going to die, he's going to die tonight. Actually, no. He doesn't survive. He promised that to Cersei. He promised himself. I changed my thing. He dies.
I was gonna say no, but I'll say yes then. Because you know what? It's like I was gonna say the Lannister name dying would be like the worst, Tywin's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Tyrion being the last person the Lannister name is probably his worst nightmare. So I'll say he survives.
Okay, there is still like that theory that he's like a Targaryen, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of dead though, because I think a lot of that theory was, in my opinion, predicated on the idea of like the 3-headed dragon, and that each dragon corresponded to a Targaryen. And I feel like at this point, if one of the dragons is now like an ice dragon, then it's like no, none of them are gonna ride. I don't know. I feel like that theory's dead now. Like I think Tyrion Targaryen personally is. I always thought that theory was also a little unsubstantiated.
It is weird, but it's still. The dragons still don't kill him, which is still inexplicable, really, right? Like, well, he goes into the den and they don't eat him. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just more hungry.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
It's not being true to the books. The dragons would have eaten him in the books. Let's not get on that fucking topic right now.
Oh my god, dude! Jesus Christ, that was crazy. All right, and I hate them. They're like Barstool Bros versus Game of Thrones nerds. I'm like, some of us are both. All right.
Boy, Charlie was like ripped down the middle right there.
That was literally like some of the people beefing with him were like people I follow. All right, Sansa, does she survive? Yes, I actually have thought. I think I wrote this in my preview 2 seasons ago. I think Sansa's the one who ultimately is on the actor end. Like if you put a gun in my head and said pick one who ultimately wins, I think it's Sansa. So I think she survives. Jon?
I think she survives. I do not think she ends up on the throne, though.
Okay. You think she's just Lady of Winterfell?
Well, how would she end up on the throne? There's like so many people ahead of her.
I don't know. They go and they just take it, and Dany and Jon sacrifice themselves, and she just takes it. I feel like my whole thing is because, you know, like Chekhov's script, like where like it's always like you think about what they said in the first episode. The way I've always visioned it from like season 1 is that Sansa said, because things always come true, dialogue, her being like, I want to be the queen, I want to go south, that's all I've ever wanted. Sansa eventually gets everything she's ever wanted, but it's cost her everything. That's like how I see it playing out. That's how I've seen it playing out for like 7 years.
That's pretty interesting. That's a good one. I don't see it happening, but I think that's pretty good.
All right, Clem.
I say Sansa and Bran live, and I think Arya dies. I think Arya's been set up to like. She's already gone, basically. She's so fucking like dead inside as is. So I think Sansa and Bran are the 2 surviving Starks. I think
Arya dies. I agree with that. I think
they both take over as like the Wardens of the North, which is a very important thing, especially when, you know, Night Walkers or White Walkers are going down. But yeah,
I think she survives just because there's really no point in killing her. Like it doesn't do anything. There's like it won't motivate anybody. There's really no reason to kill her to begin with. I don't think her death would really matter, so there's no reason to kill her.
All right, and then Jon and Dany, we'll do 2 for 1. I think I'll say they both die. I think they both sacrifice themselves saving the world, and that's like the bittersweet ending. They save the world, but it takes them everything. I think Jon probably more than Dany. I think if one dies, they both die, and if one survives, the other one probably survives. And I'll go they both die. Jon?
I think that's a strong prediction. I'm going to go the opposite. I think they survive. I think the show has like not giving you what you want on so many occasions. Like I think it's a little overblown how many good characters he kills, because it's been fucking 7 years. Like characters die. It's just what happens. But I do think like so many times it kind of ripped your heart out that I think ultimately it's going to give you what you want, and that's what everyone wants, is them on the throne.
Jon and Dany just banging on the back of a dragon, ruling over the entire world.
Riding on the fucking Iron Throne, reverse cowgirl. And pan out like that.
For someone with abs, I thought Jon, he had like some like back fat. I mean, maybe I got like a wrong angle. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with Kit Harington's body a little bit.
I'm going to be honest. I unfortunately didn't look at it that closely, so I didn't notice that.
Now I'm the weird one.
Yeah.
That was not what I wanted you to say. Clem, what did you think?
I'm going to go with Jon dies. Dany ends up on the throne just because, again, like Jon is just, he's like Larry David, man. It always just ends up with. What
if that's how Game of Thrones ends? The Night King just wins and is marching south, and then just the Curb Your Enthusiasm it's like Cersei looking, and then it's just like the Night King approaching her, and she's just like bump, bump, bump. That would be amazing. All right, and then we'll wrap up the episode here. Winter is coming. Winter has come. Winter came.
Winter came all over everyone's face just then.
Came all over everyone's face. It's a blow. We wondered what that dragon shoots out of its mouth, White Walker. Blue fire. So awesome. Just so awesome. Like anybody who claims, and I've seen a lot, and this was the people who like Kevin's been fighting with, be like, these are such cheap Shreks. It's like a Michael Bay movie. Dude, I don't care if it's like a Michael Bay or Fast and the Furious movie where it's like, oh my God, Ferraris on the back of boats, like taking down jets. I'm like, dude, I don't care. It was great. Like when that dragon he was riding, he was just taking down the wall. It was amazing drama. I was scared. I felt such like doom and inevitability. I felt like the night like Trump won the election. Like it was like the same feeling. Just like a dark forebodance was happening. Like when the Patriots started scoring when they were down 28-3. Like I literally had that feeling about real life events about the scripted show. It was so great. Clem, let's save you for last because I love your reactions to things because you dance and you scream and you do all of these delightful Clem things. Jon, what did you feel when you saw it just all start to come down?
It's going to be tough to live up to that one. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was very good. I totally agree with you. Like, fuck, Michael Bay's the man. Shut the fuck up about comparisons to Michael Bay. That's your problem. Like, the things are too awesome. It's like, fuck you. And I'm not. I've said this before with Kevin. Like, I'm actually not like a dragon guy. Like that's not why I watch the show. I don't. I'm more into like the Littlefinger side of it. Like I like the politics and the games and stuff like that. And I just like the acting. The dragons are awesome. Don't get me wrong. But every time I have that reaction like that, where I want to say like I'm not here for the dragons. Like, the dragons are a cool addition, but I'm not here for them. And then you hear the screech and they come out and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm here for the dragons. That's what I care about here.
It's like when you go to like a hockey game and you're like, look, man, I'm a true fan. Like, I just want to see like good play and I want to see skill. And then two players drop the gloves and start fighting. And I'm like, let's go. This is awesome. Like, it's literally that feeling. Like, all right, I guess I'm not as smart as I really think I am. My taste.
Yeah, exactly that.
All right, Clem, what were you? You were standing? I take it.
I was standing.
Were you cowering?
Someone spoiled that for me. I knew that 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
Someone spoiled that. They said a dragon breathes blue fire. I knew even on the podcast last week that I just didn't want to tell you guys. So that's why I said steam or ice or whatever.
Oh, man.
They ruined that moment for me. I've had a lot of I found out about Ned on Twitter before I even watched the show, so I couldn't get mad about that. I found out about Joffrey because I went snooping on the wrong part of Reddit on Game of Thrones thing.
Dude, I got to just avoid the internet. Like, I don't know. Like, I actually deleted the Twitter app for Game of Thrones. Like I would have it Monday. I would just delete it every Thursday for like those last 3 weeks.
So somebody
not tweet, but I tweet from my computer.
Yeah, somebody spoiled it for me, I think, after, I don't remember, I think it was maybe after the Coley episode, because Coley guessed that a dragon went north, and everyone thought, like, Coley knew everything, even though, like, there was nothing else in his prediction.
That ruined it for me, too, and Coley and I felt so bad for poor Coley, because everybody thought Coley spoiled it, like, on purpose, like, Coley was just a dick, and I was like, no, like, he was just right. Like, you can't, like, get mad at a guy for being, like, I don't think I mean, Jon, you know him the best of all of us, but
John,
I know him pretty well, man. Like, he's a good guy. He wouldn't do that.
No. Yeah, no, Coley definitely would not do that on purpose. It was and he's actually, I'll give it to, he's been preaching one of the dragons goes White Walker for a long time. Like since like before the season started, I think.
Yeah, so like but that's terrible that got spoiled for you, Clem. So it wasn't like a huge moment for you.
No, it wasn't. Like what I should have done. So that's why I watched the leak 2 weeks ago. Where I was like, now I just have to stay ahead of the fucking the spoilers and the hackers now. So I'm just like, I avoided Twitter like this whole weekend because I was away. So I was able just to like not have anyone spoil anything else. But I mean, it was fucking awesome. I mean, even with that, I will say the Night King writing on it just made me laugh. Like he's not even blinking. Like he was.
It was a very funny just image. Just seeing that was so ridiculous. Like
that's a meme.
I thought it was just kind of flying on its own, and then he kind of like it was like it's slowly like his head bent down. You saw him on top, and you're like, what the fuck, man? You look ridiculous up there. Like imagine like. When he gets on it too, and he has to tell all his generals they're still riding horses like a bunch of broke boys. Like, I got a fucking dragon now, man. Enjoy your 1 horsepower fucking vehicle you got there.
Hey, can we ride with you? Nah, man. I'm sorry. I just can't. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, but like, there's not enough room. No, there is, but I'm sorry. Like, you just can't.
They're like, yo, those living people took like 8 motherfuckers on their dragon.
By the way, this is a beef I have though with people, and I said this in my blog last week. Everybody right now, Game of Thrones is the more fantasy elements have come into the show. I've seen there's been people who've been getting like pissed off at it and being like, oh, well, like it's so lame. It's such a bad villain. We all know that like the White Walkers aren't going to actually win in the end, and they're going to there'll be a way to defeat them. I'm like, yeah, man, like that's what fantasy is. Like that's like literally one of the hallmarks of the fantasy genre. If you've ever read, like everyone already just read Harry Potter. You knew Voldemort wasn't going to win. Like, you know, like the whole point is inevitability. And that's what I wrote. And I hate that. And everyone's like, now it's game of somebody like once like they tweeted at me. It's like more like game of convenient timing and coincidence. I was like, first of all, that's a terrible joke. And that's not even a pun. Second of all, like, yeah, dude, like the whole point is that Jon Snow is God's chosen savior to like save the world. Like he's gonna like that's the whole point is like that there's this inevitability to saving it. Like I don't care that I realize he's gonna probably beat the Night King. I just want to see how it's gonna happen. And that's the magic.
And the thing is with George R. R. Martin, like you believe he's going to leave a pretty fucking sour taste in your mouth, even though the shit works out in the end. Like I believe in that man really ruining my night, even though I should feel happy in the morning.
Yeah. Like, look, like, yes, the White Walkers aren't going to win, but it's not going to be everyone's alive and happy and learns the true meaning of Christmas. Like there's going to be some bad stuff that it costs them. And that's what you watch the show for.
This is one other thing I want to know. What was the fucking plan B for the fucking Night King? Like, if a dragon didn't fly north of the wall, what were you going to do to get past that wall? Because I don't know how the fuck else you were getting it done.
Just turn around and regroup.
That's my mentality in life too. Like, future John will deal with it. I'll get there and then we'll figure out what happens when we get there. That's like every weekend. Like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. We'll just go to the bar and figure out what happens afterwards. Like, shit just happens. We'll let it fall into place.
It's also a very strong plan A, like in terms of needing a backup plan. Like the dragon, I would have a lot. I'm somebody who like has backup plans. I would feel pretty.
Well, I'm thinking the other way. I'm thinking like I gotta climb this whole fucking wall now. Like I'm like diet starts Monday kind of guy next Monday. So it's like fuck. Like if we don't have a dragon, I guess we're not doing it. So we're just gonna stay up here in the middle of nowhere and just. But if I was the head of the night, the White Walkers, they would be not even close to a threat in this show right now. They'd be sleeping watching fucking TV.
There is a theory that it was a trap, right? To get when they killed the dragon because they usually carry swords and like 3 of them had spears. So it was like they were prepared for 3 dragons.
I'm sure they probably have a Bran who can see everything. And it's like this dragon's going to come here soon.
Some people think Bran is the Night King.
Right, that's what I was going to say. That Bran is definitely the Night King. I think he is.
I disagree.
Oh, I think he's definitely the Night King.
I will say because this is a theory that's been going around. It's not a spoiler at all. Obviously, the season hasn't even been shot next season, but. I was ready this episode to just declare I was ready to bend the knee to the Night King and be like, all right, I guess I'm Night King now. I'm bandwagon to the day I die. So I've officially converted.
If he is the Night King, will you be Team White Walker? Because you said you're anti-Team White Walker because they made the dragons cry. So that kind of puts you're going to have to make a judgment call. I won't make you answer that on the spot. You probably have to think about that for the next year before you make a sound decision. But at least for the next year, Clem, every night before you go to bed, like give it 15 minutes of thought.
Okay.
Like just promise me you'll do that. All right, before we end this, because we've gone very long, longest episode by far, let's each make one prediction for the next season. Just one. We'll throw it out there and maybe a different one. My prediction is My prediction is that Sansa. There's a Sansa versus Cersei battle of wits at some point, and I think Sansa probably wins. That's my prediction.
Can I use the Night King again?
Yeah.
That's my strong one. I think Bran's definitely the Night King.
Okay. I don't, but okay. I respect your opinion.
I'm gonna go with the Iron Bank turns on Cersei. I'm just guessing.
Ooh, just based on just gut.
Like it's like, yeah, gold is gold, 2 dragons is 2 dragons, and like I get, you know what, that doesn't make any sense. Fuck, I really don't have a prediction, so I just grabbed like I took out of a grab bag and I was like, Iron Bank turns on Cersei. Let's put it together. I'm gonna just take your Arya kills Jaime and kills Cersei with his face because I just love the idea of that.
Okay, that would be sick.
It would be sick
and
a little dumb, but it would be sick.
Next season won't be until next summer, right? Isn't it gonna be like winter of 2018? Probably.
Yeah, it's 2018, I think, or it might even be 2019.
Dude, is that even a real year? Like that's
it's 2019. It's definitely 2019.
Dude, 2019. That's not even like a thing. I don't think that's ever gonna happen, and not even in like a nuclear war way. I'm just like, that's not real to me.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's crazy. 2019.
That's like when you're like a freshman and people are like, he'll be graduated, and you're just like, shut up. No, I won't. Like, I'm gonna be here forever. I'm like, I'm not gonna. Oh my God, where are our lives gonna be in 2019? That'll be an interesting.
Don't want to know.
I don't want to know either.
I love it. My life is going to be exactly the same now.
I was just like, Clem, you'll be married with raising your kid up and going to Saratoga at the end of the summer, at the end of August, once a week. Yeah,
she's potty trained at least by now, so at least I don't change diapers anymore. Like that's all I really have to look forward to is shit like that. Now I don't have to pay for daycare. I can now bring her to school for free.
All right. Before I go, I'll say thank you to everybody who's been watching throughout the season. The reaction was awesome. It was also great to see how, except for the one spike, that was your appearance, consistent growth, like pretty much every episode in terms of views. John's was the most viewed. But then other than that, it went up. It was awesome to see. It really meant a lot. All the people who read and listened over the last 2 years of me and Clem. You read how long the nickname list is. That's how long we've been doing this. There are a full 20 nicknames. It's been an awesome experience. I will write my goodbye tomorrow, but this is my last thing for Barstool Sports. This is my last day as a Barstool Sports employee. It was a really good 4 years.
I didn't even know that.
I told you.
I forgot.
I mentioned. Oh no! Oh yeah. Well, no, actually, because I said when I was like, oh man, that was such a good way to go out. When I was after we interviewed Jaime, and then you didn't know? Yeah, that's what I meant. But that was.
Oh, I thought you were just kind of speaking metaphorically. I thought you were gonna kill yourself that night. I
don't know. Remember when Charlie said oh, the guy that is oh, I'm gonna be in college forever. This is never gonna end. This is Charlie. That's Charlie. Charlie's life is over now. In the words of John Feidelberg, college is a 4-year funeral.
It was a 4-year funeral. And the funeral came, and now it is over. So it was an awesome experience. I'll be around. I'll see you guys all the time. I'm sure I'll be in the office in and out because I'm going to help out with some stuff behind the scenes. But I don't know. It was a great 4 years. So thanks to everybody I'm actually sad right now. Thanks to everybody for reading. Thanks to everybody for listening. And it was awesome. And just can't wait for if 2019 ever comes, which is unlikely. Can't wait to see what's going to happen in Westeros. And yeah, it was awesome. So thanks, guys. Thanks, John, for coming on the show. We took an hour and a half of your time, so I really appreciate it. And
dude, my time's worthless, so it's cool.
All right. And Clint, thanks for being the best co-host ever. I'm glad that you invited me to host the show on a whim, 15 minutes before our first one, and it was a great 2 years of doing shows, man.
Shout out Brendan Clancy for telling us 20 minutes before the show started to do a show. So then we did it because the guy who invented podcasting for Barstool in March we started, March of 2017 is when we started doing podcasts. So it's kind of weird how that timeline matches up, but
right. Yeah. He literally texted us. He's like, all right, you, Trent, and Clem are going to do a Game of Thrones pre-show every epised. I was like, okay. And we
go to CCast.com.
After one episode was like, I'm kind of out on this. It was me and Clem were like, all right, we'll do it. And it was awesome. It's by far my favorite thing I've done was being the Thrones guy at Barstool, way more than any of the New York sports stuff. Or as much as I loved working for you, John, for KFC Radio, this was by far the best thing.
Well, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me, and Charlie. Thanks for thanks for KFC Radio for 3 years of that. You were awesome. You've been great. I love reading your reviews. I hope you still do them in 2019.
Yeah, by then, who knows? I probably could be back. I've told Clem, I'm already fantasizing about the Ultimate Warrior running gif of me coming back in 2019, being one more, we're bringing it back like Jordan.
No, that's not how it works, dude. Corporate America, you crawl back like, you're fucking Chappelle and fucking when Rick James's knees are fucking blowing out. Like you're just gonna be crawling back to us.
Probably. That's what Brendan said, and I was like doing this emotional goodbye. He was like, "I bet you come back." I was like, "No, man, like I'm gone." He's like, "Okay." Like he was like, "Yeah, I said I was never gonna work full time for Barstool." I was like, "Okay." All right.
Shout out Plum Market too.
Shout out to the Plum Market. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks, Jim.